Hi, I'm Terry with Prepped and Polished in South Natick, Massachusetts. Thanks for joining us today. Today I'm going to cover part 1 of a 3-part series on how to avoid 3 pitfalls of rhetorical skills questions on the ACT English test. The ACT English test has 2 question types: usage and mechanics and rhetorical skills questions. Usage and mechanics cover punctuation, grammar, word usage, and sentence structure, while rhetorical skills test style, organization, and strategy. Most of my students dread rhetorical skills questions because they find them extremely challenging and time-consuming. Today, we're going to see how to tackle transitions involving sentences. And transitions can be within sentences or connecting sentences. So here's a chart that my students find invaluable, not only to know about transition words, but to help them with answer choices. Once you know the transition words, it makes it much easier to select the right answer choice. So there's 3 types of transition words. 3 categories. There's continuers, contradictors, and cause and effect. And some of the more common continuers are and, also, furthermore, moreover, for instance, or for example, indeed, similarly, then, next. Contradictors show contrast. But yet, however, although, nevertheless, instead, in contrast, even so, despite, still, meanwhile. And cause and effect words are accordingly, as such, since, consequently, therefore, thus, so, as a result, because. Here's a good example of how these transition words can help you. Orcas are very social animals. Even so, they live in pods of up to a dozen animals. And so the transition words are even so. Something doesn't sound quite right about that. Let's try a strategy where you cross out the transition words. Orcas are very social animals. They live in pods of up to a dozen animals. We need a transition that's a logical transition. Now, even so is a contradictor. We don't need a contradictor. We need cause and effect, something like as such or so, which would make sense. Orcas are very social animals, so, or as such, they live in pods of up to a dozen animals. That's a logical transition. Now let's dig a little deeper and look at a step-by-step approach to sentence transition questions. I'll walk you through the process. So the first step is to cross out underlined words. This is from an actual ACT English test, and there's the underlined transition words, and we're just going to cross them right out. Then you read carefully to the end of the sentence. Now, anytime you see an underlined word or words, you should always read the entire sentence. Don't stop there. But we're going to read the whole thing right now, quickly. On West 45th Street in New York City, wedged between buildings more than twice their height, stands the Lyceum Theater. Tourists and New Yorkers alike regularly fill this theater to its 900-seat capacity. Most are there to attend a performance. A few, and it said, for example, are likely to be architecture buffs there to admire the stunning building itself. As you read that, does a transition jump out at you? I mean, that sounds kind of awkward. Be thinking if there's a certain transition word that you might like better there. And to help you decide, you think about what type of relationship is it? A continuer? Is it a continuer, contrast, or cause and effect transition like we looked at before in the chart? So let's kind of see here. Tourists and New Yorkers alike, they regularly attend this theater to see the performance. But there are some patrons who are architecture buffs, some architecture buffs, there to simply admire the building. So it seems like it's a contrast. So I'm thinking that we need a contrast word. Now we're going to narrow down our choices, and if two are synonyms, neither's correct. So no change, for example, is a continuer, and so is in fact. That was on the chart, and that's why it's helpful to know that. So we're going to get rid of F and J. Consequently is cause and effect. That doesn't work there. We don't need cause and effect. So it seems like H, however, is going to be correct, and we want to plug it in and check it out. Most are there to attend a performance. A few, however, are likely to be architecture buffs, there to admire the stunning building itself. That sounds right, and it is. And just remember that transition words don't necessarily come at the beginning of a sentence. Here, it's right in the middle. Here's a bonus tip for you. Rhetorical skills questions typically take longer than usage mechanics questions. So if you aim for 2 questions per minute, there's 75 questions, you'll have approximately 8 minutes remaining to review tricky transition questions or any rhetorical question. If you enjoyed these tips today on transition questions, give us a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. If you have any questions or you want more in-depth tutoring, either online or in person, simply email info@preppedandpolished.com and we'll be glad to help you. Good luck.